We have just seen what Goa managed while organizing such a difficult competition. Even the widely travelled, passionate triathlete Pablo Erat from Switzerland showered praises on the organizers' Goa outbound adventures. Let us now watch an international triathlon event so that we can understand how fascinating this sport of triathlon is indeed.
Non-Stanford has tagged Brownlee, and she is in the water, or about to go. See how her dive compares. Pretty good.
Yeah, impressive. Definitely impressive. Erin Royal handing off to Ashley Gentle, and just beside should be New Zealand. That's a long run. You're going down that big, no wonder they're flying off at about 80 miles an hour. There's Frodo, who's run through 2 or 3 people, giving Annie Haug a chance. Vincent Louis had a phenomenal run to put France back into it. Germany in 6th, Italy in 7th.
Huge cheer for Anne Haug, who won here yesterday. It's really, it's quite amusing the way we look at all the athletes that have already run, and they're kind of peering out, seeing who's where. For once, they're spectators for the day. They're not used to that.
Yeah, well, they're used to being a doer, not a watcher. Ashley Gentle. So again, the athletes that are on this particular leg, non-Stanford, currently in the lead on the ladies' side. Look at the New Zealand athlete catching up. So moving well here, Kate McElroy.
So they swim through the tunnel, they go around those buoys, and then back through the tunnel on the other side, a distance of 300 meters in total.
You know, you have to start asking. I mean, I think Great Britain's in a terrific position. We always thought that from the beginning of the day, but New Zealand's putting themselves in a good spot here for late in the day with Ryan Sissons as the anchor leg. He had that big, huge race yesterday, and he's a great runner, so having that kind of wheels for the final leg of the day certainly is not a bad thing.
Just trying to see whether the gap is, yeah, it's probably about the same as it was when...
The only difference is you're going to look at 3 countries working together going after non-Stanford,
yeah.
So they'll have the benefit on the bike, and that's something that non won't have. So it'll be Australia, United States, and New Zealand working together on the bike. That actually works to the benefit of a couple of people. Certainly, I think, to Gwen Jorgensen. If she can just sit in there on this bike, that will be to her benefit. If they're smart, they'll work together, and then it'll come down to the anchor leg.
So, Stanford, unsurprisingly, first out the water, and the gap looks pretty much the same as it was when Alistair Brownlee handed off to her, but it will be interesting to see whether she can stay solo on the bike or not, because as Barry mentioned, you're going to have a little team of 3 or 4 working together to try and get on terms with the Brit.
Wow, Ashley Gentle has definitely fallen off the pace there. Kate McElroy and Gwen Jorgensen together. Now, Gentle's very strong on the bike, so let's see if she's able to catch up. It's going to be non-Stanford, and if I were these other 3 women, honestly, I would say, look, let's work together on the bike, and then we'll kill each other on the run, rather than each one of us being 3 seconds apart on the bike, working extremely hard and not making any inroads. So we'll see. New Zealand and United States side by side, Australia just inches behind, and then you can just see coming out of the water France, and France's weakest leg right now is just coming. Here comes the Germans, and they obviously have the strongest woman on the bike right now with Annie Haug, so if anybody wants to get a free tow, they should be getting on Annie's wheel right now, and that's exactly what France is doing.
Almost
so
literally.
Yeah, Emmy Sherian, I think, actually hopped on Annie Haug's seat.
Yeah, can I have a lift,
yeah,
please?
Don't mind me, I'm going to just get on your handlebars. So there's non-Stanford. She's got herself a roughly 16-second gap on Gwen Jorgensen, Kate McElroy, and Ashley Gentle, and then they have about another 13 seconds back to the French team with Emmy Sherian, Mazzetti from Italy, and Annie Haug from Germany. And that's a very strong 3 women in that second chase bunch. So Haug has a very fast transition out, and you'll see Emmy Sherian hop on her wheel, as close as you can humanly get here. Into the shoes. Nice transition for non-Stanford. No pressure. If she gets caught up, it's fine. If she doesn't get caught up, it's fine as well.
Yeah, she's going to give Johnny Brownlee a decent position to work with either way. We go past the main train station here. Magnificent city, Hamburg, and we have somewhere in the region of 250,000 spectators out all over the course today. Always best to put the helmet on the right way round.
Gillian Sanders. Well,
she should know that. She's a lawyer.
She is a lawyer.
Insurance invalid if helmet not properly positioned.
Yeah, I am sure. I am sure.
I mean, she won't be used to this in competition, Barry, riding solo.
Well, in her early days, she probably would have done a few of these kinds of races where you aren't able to get on the wheel of another athlete. But certainly over the last 2.5, 3 years, 95% of the work that she would have done would have been in draft legal format. So in fairness, it'll be important that she puts out her energy. She's probably well, Gwen Jorgensen has the ability to probably make up 15, maybe 20 seconds overall.
Big news. Time penalty for Great Britain. Alistair Brownlee too close to the mount line, and that is going to be a 10-second penalty, which could change the whole complexion of this race. I can't see Stanford taking the penalty, although I suppose it's a possibility after the bike, is it?
Well, you can take it. The penalty box is down near the swim, so you can take it, I don't think after the bike, but after the run.
After the run, okay.
Before you go into the water. So if she's got a huge gap, wouldn't it be ironic if Johnny Brownlee has to serve another penalty? At the Olympic
yes.
At the Olympic Games, he had that penalty which came close to costing him his bronze medal. In the end, he was sizably ahead of the two French athletes.
And the other irony of that was the most vociferous about the time penalty was not Johnny but Alistair, who really went into a rant about you shouldn't get time penalties when you're just millimetres as far as the transgressing area, but we'll see. But it does make this fascinating now. Yeah. I'm not sure that Stanford will even know yet that there is a time penalty.
Well, the team will have to, if they're on top of things, that's why they have walkie-talkies to communicate around the course. If Gwen Jorgensen's smart, she just stays on Kate McElroy's wheel here for as long as she can, and then she'll run away from her on the run. And there was a 16-second gap, and now you add, was it 10-second penalty?
Yes.
So that's going to get down to the first few seconds of getting your feet on top of the pedals, but I think she probably wisely should have gone in. So at this point, you have to guess that non-Stanford must have gone down in that crash. And one would have said before the day began that it would take something like that to take the Brits out of contention, because with 4 athletes on the podium, pretty hard to believe that they wouldn't be in a major threat. But at this point, we don't see non-Stanford.
No, we are hearing that she's almost certainly crashed. We're trying to find the actual footage so we can try and show it to you, but Stanford is not in that leading group, so we have to assume that that bike we saw was hers, and this means it's a wide open race as the women come down to start the run.
I got to believe that Gwen Jorgensen's the first athlete back in the transition zone, if yesterday was any indication. I mean, all of these women can run, and it's only 1 mile, so how much gap can you give up? There goes McElroy. She was a mountain runner and a steeplechaser. There goes Jorgensen. Ashley Gentle had that brilliant run yesterday. Mazzetti. Emmy Cherion. So the first 6 countries out. Well, you know what? This is going to be very interesting, because now the U.S. has that absolute swim bike specialist out there. This might just be a brilliant move, but Gwen Jorgensen's going to have to give him just a little bit of a gap to go out on that course. And Annie Haug is going to be absolutely on fire here. We saw that sprint that she had yesterday. Let's just see if she's able to sustain it.
Well, and just think what Frank Loschke's thinking at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, my. Why didn't they pick Jan Frodeno? So there we can see the bike. And there she is. I can see her up against the post. So that's non-Stanford. Johnny saying, I don't think I'm racing. The British team looking a bit concerned. But I might as well go for a swim.
Well, let's hope that Stanford is okay.
Well, here comes Gwen Jorgensen. She's run herself now through Kate McElroy. It's up to Annie Haug. And by the time they get into this transition zone, it'll be almost certainly Gwen Jorgensen. Yesterday, she ran 15:30 for her 5K off the bike. 27 men had a slower run split than Gwen Jorgensen. And she literally just starts to pick it up and go faster and faster with every 400 meters on the run. So a good battle here for 4th, 5th, and 6th with Ashley Gentle. There's Gwen Jorgensen. She is now going to start to eat up this pavement. She outran 35 seconds faster yesterday than, well, there's Alistair Brownlee. He's not going to have to pay that penalty now.
Well, they're smiling a lot. I'm not wondering if they actually know what's going on.
I think at this point they're understanding that something's happened. So Gwen Jorgensen has put the United States, who has never won a world championship title, into the lead, and they have a guy who has not really done much I2 racing, Cameron Dye, renowned for his ability to swim and bike. The real question mark is going to be whether or not he's going to have the run legs. Can he put a big enough gap on the swim bike to hold off the Germans, to hold off the Kiwis, Ryan Sisson, to hold off the Australians with Peter Kerr? But no question, Gwen Jorgensen is going to put the United States in the lead. So let's see what the gap is now as she comes by.
Well, we're going to have some somewhat lesser-known runners right at the front for this last leg. You mentioned Frank Loschke from Germany, and the United States of America will have Cameron Dye on that final leg. I'm sure either of them would have felt they'd have been going off in the lead with no Brownlee to battle or Gomez. But that looks like being the way of it.
I mean, how many times have we seen this in relays?
Yeah,
you can put all the... Usually it's the United States with the problem on the 4x100. They've got 3 of the 4 fastest men in the world, and then they drop the baton. We've seen that so many times. Well, today the British team were by far the most stacked team. 4 athletes who had got a medal at yesterday's World Championship event here in Hamburg. And there's Annie Haug doing her very best to try to find a little bit more in the tank, just to squeeze out a few more seconds. She looked so relieved yesterday and so happy with that victory. Certainly put Germany in a great spot here.
Well, the start has been made, and we will all love to see our triathlon become as big as the international event you just saw. The onus of making the Goa Triathlon into a world-class event will now rest on the authorities. This is a great opportunity to attract quality tourists under the sports tourism banner. We hope that the government provides all support to make Goa Triathlon as big an event as possible. With that, we come to the end of this edition of Simply Sport. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.